As regulators is quite important. So the regulation has been a key challenge, and that's been positive recently. So we're seeing clearer regulation come out. Institutions are very receptive to that, and they just want to understand what are the rules for us. Followed by standards. It's very important to create technology and market infrastructure that is standardized, because it makes it easier for institutions to adopt and change as they need. Integrating something into core banking is a very complicated process. They don't want to do that every few years. And then finally, it's a novel technology. So implementing that in a way where it benefits their business models, but also benefits how they use the technology to make it better, quicker, cheaper, as Victoria was saying. So for us, it's really implementing that foundational layer correctly at the beginning. And what we're seeing with the work that we've done with central banks and now the work with commercial banks is they're all working together. I don't know a central bank or a commercial bank that is not exploring, piloting or implementing DLT in the world. It is that much of an uptake. And so what they're doing is, for the first time, rather than waiting for regulation to come down and say, you will go off and do this, they're actually collaborating and cooperating with each other to create this new infrastructure, because they have a seat at the table and have a say.
Good morning, y'all, and welcome back to my channel. Thank y'all so much for tapping back in to see what I have to say. I promise y'all, it truly does mean the world to me. But with that being said, what are we talking about? We're talking about QUANT Network in this one, okay, you guys? We are talking about one of their partners, open partners, EY. Oh man, stick around for this one. But before we get too deep, I want to thank each and every single one of you for liking, for commenting, for subscribing. I truly appreciate each and every single one of you. I truly do. We're on the road to 5,000, and y'all all rock. I have a very awesome community. But here we go, y'all. EY. One of the EY executives was on the news, and they were doing an interview talking about the stable coin and talking about the onboarding of institutionals using stablecoin and DLT processes, okay, you guys? Remember, I always tell y'all, the institutions are coming. They're waiting on one thing and one thing only right now, which is regulation, which is the Clarity Act or whatever act that winds up coming out of the Senate. We're going to see it either get passed to President Trump's desk, or we're going to see it go to the House for a vote. Either way, the regulatory clarity is coming. And as soon as the institutions get this regulatory clarity, you guys, and they truly start using the Web3 services, not just on private permission blockchain, but on public blockchains and in their everyday processes, not just cross-border, we're going to start seeing some true utilization of some of these Web3 technology companies, you guys. Okay, so here we go. Jumping into this interview, it's coming from the actual mainstream news, and it is an executive from EY talking about the integration of the institutions into DLT processes. Understand who EY is, you guys. EY has 400,000 employees globally. They operate in 150 countries. Okay, you guys, we're talking one of the big 4 investment firms in the world. Okay, they are a big boy. And do they tie right into QUANT Network? Absolutely, but that's later on in the video. I'm getting to that, but follow me on this because I want you guys to get this information in regards to the institutional adoption and onboarding of Web3, and I will be right back.
Main story today, EY has released a new survey of corporate and financial executives focused on stablecoins. The report's called Stablecoins in Focus, Navigating the New Digital Financial Landscape. Crypto World's Talia Kaplan spoke with Mike Johnson, EY America's Digital Asset Solution Lead, about the findings.
EY Parthenon just dropped a new survey focused on stablecoins, a hot topic right now, especially after the Genius Act stablecoin bill was signed into law 2 months ago. And a key area of focus in EY's new report is regulatory clarity. Now, the report found that the vast majority of organizations, 73%, said that concerns centered around regulatory clarity has been a big adoption obstacle. It's important to note that the survey was conducted shortly before the Genius Act became law, which eliminated the biggest obstacle to stablecoin adoption. What would you say has changed between when the survey was conducted to now? Are you noticing more stablecoin adoption now that there is, in fact, a federal framework in place?
Absolutely. We've seen this across the digital asset landscape as we start to get better regulatory clarity. It does open up the interest in digital assets. And then specifically over the last few months, a lot of the conversations that we've been having both at the corporation level as well as at the financial institution level is around use cases and interest in stablecoin, as well as how to bring that infrastructure to the market to support stablecoin use. Yeah, I mean, it does highlight the potential market sizing that's available from a stablecoin use, even at a 5 to 10% adoption rate in global payments, as you indicated. I mean, it opens up by 2030 between $2 and $4 trillion worth of payments annually to be transacted in stablecoin. So even at a small percentage, we do see a very large impact on the market. And it's really driven by interest in more efficient financial transaction, cross-border transactions, speed to settlement, as well as the potential for 24/7 settlement potential as well. Global nature of our economy and increasing the technology advancements and leveraging stablecoin payments is just one of those areas that businesses are seeing, great results and use cases. And then obviously, the value-driven impact of lowering the cost of transactions is what businesses are looking for in order to enable, stablecoin usage. But we see some other interesting use cases, in the gig economy that's out there today, the ability to have, faster transactions and payments to employees or to, independent contractors as part of that process does increase, the speed and potential attractiveness from a corporation perspective, as well as from a gig worker perspective. So we do see a lot of different use cases starting to emerge. And as the infrastructure for stable coins become more available and in place for use, we expect that additional use cases will follow as well.
Now you guys just saw that, and what was one of the first things out of his mouth, which was what? Regulatory clarity. That's the only thing they're waiting on. They're waiting on the laws so that they can know how they can be governed to utilize these services. That's why the Genius Act was so incredibly important, and that's why whatever this legislation is for market clarity, why that's extremely important, because that's the only thing that's holding them back, because they have already built out infrastructure in the background, testing these things with proof of concepts, testing these things on private permissioned blockchains. Okay, you guys? But even more from that interview, really listen to when powerful people speak, listen to them, because they really are dropping gems. It's just most people don't take the time to listen, so they miss pertinent information. Okay, you guys? So really listen to what he's getting ready to say, even when he says words like putting together the infrastructure. And understand, I'm going to show y'all the infrastructure just a little bit later on. Follow me on this. When they're talking about different processes and how things are being built out in the background and how different payment service providers are assisting them, truly understand and truly listen when words are being said, because we know some of those payment service providers are people like a Hedera, with things like a Drop, people like a Ripple. Okay, you utilizing what? An XRP. Understand when people are saying things, when they say, things like being able to tap into any network, seamlessly integrate. You know that's Overledger. Like, come on, you guys. But here we go. More from that interview, and I will be right back.
And that makes sense. And, the report found that while 87% of those surveyed said that stablecoins offer a competitive advantage, only 41% think they can integrate stablecoins with moderate effort, and 36% expect major system changes. What could this mean for those firms that are ready to go right now?
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's a competitive advantage to being ready and able to offer as the market begins looking for this option. We do think, again, there will be a look to partnerships with other firms that have the existing blockchain infrastructure to support stablecoin transactions. So, wallets and custody. to bring some of the, I'll say, slower movers in the market, to give them access to start supplying, stablecoin access to their customers. Then on the corporate side, right, as their payment providers, as their financial institutions start to enable stablecoin uses, they'll have more quicker and easier access to advance those use cases, and then also look to what retrofits they need to do in order to take advantage of the new technology, but also control any risks that it might create in their organization.
Did anything in the stablecoin report jump out at you or surprise you?
I wouldn't say so. I think it reinforced, again, a pretty central theme that we're seeing in the digital asset space, which is, regulatory clarity is really central to allowing for adoption to move forward. But then just, general market factors that have been out there for years, which is, the demand and supply. They have to come together to match one another. So, finding the use cases that make sense, that create the value for organizations to start using digital assets and stable coins. And then also that the supply is there to support that, which we're starting to see in the market with, interesting releases from different organizations as to how they're going to supply stable coins to the market. So we really do see this from a results perspective, kind of reinforcing that now that we've gotten better clarity, that we do expect that both demand will increase as well as supply to support stablecoin adoption.
Now, the report notes that stablecoins are set to reshape the payments landscape. Given the extensive research in this report, what's your outlook for stablecoins, say, within the next year?
Yeah, I mean, we see a large, portion, I think, roughly 54% of non-stablecoin users indicated to us that they would have interest in the next 6 to 12 months to begin using stablecoin. So again, we expect that there'll be a little slow uptick in the beginning, but then as the supply and the infrastructure is really available for them to take advantage of it, be it from a payment service provider or through financial institutions or even the digital natives that provide, stablecoin access, that from that perspective, we'll begin to start to see the new use cases, the additional number of transactions that are conducted with it, and the amount of value that it's creating from a more efficient transfer of value and wealth.
Now you guys just heard everything he just said in regards to the infrastructure, in regards to the onboarding, in regards to the percentages of the onboarding and where people sit and where they're going to be comfortable within the next literally 12 months. What am I telling y'all? 2026 is the year of onboarding. It is the year that it will go down in history. 2025 is that year of infrastructure. 2025 is that year of infrastructure and laws and standards. So the 2026 is that year of adoption that kickstarts 2027, 28, and 29, and 2030, where you have true mass adoption of this technology. Okay, you guys? It is going to eclipse all of the other adoption phrases by leaps and bounds, because there's things like the internet that's already in place. There's things like smartphones in almost everybody's hand. Does this make sense? And this taps directly into the thing that they already use every single day, which is their smartphones. Follow me on this, okay, you guys? The adoption curve of this is going to be bananas. And being in front of this and being able to see it actually birth out and then spike up in fruition, it's going to be incredible. The realm of Web 3, we have not seen the bull run yet. I promise y'all, anybody that's saying the bull run is over is ill-informed and not paying attention to global leaders as we speak. Okay, you guys? But we are getting ready to now tie QUANT Network to this whole entire thing. Okay, you guys? QUANT Network is right there in the background. QUANT Network is right there, has been an open partner of EY. But there was actually an interview done, and it was a panel. It was about 8 players. There were several different things. It was with the RLN, and EY was there as well, and so was QUANT Network. And just so happens in this interview, you have the player from QUANT speak first, and then the player from EY speaks right after him. Okay, you guys? So I'm getting ready to throw that clip in there just to show you not only are they in the same room, but they're helping lay out that infrastructure that was just talked about inside that video from the man of EY. Yeah, that infrastructure, it's already been, being worked on methodically in the background so that this can be a seamless integration, a seamless transition without an oh no or oops moment or any type of crazy unforeseen thing, because it's something they have been working on for almost a decade. Countries and central banks coming together, literally building out Web3 infrastructure for the globe to use. Okay, you guys? But here we go. I'm not going to play that whole video because that whole video is probably 6 minutes long, because it is players from like the Bank of England. It's a lot of different players in there. But anyway, I'm going to go play that part that ties Quant right next to EY, and I will be right back.
We wanted to ensure singleness of money. So the system was connected to a simulated RTGS, simulated retail CBDC, and to an open banking simulator to cover all the forms of money that are available today.
We are delighted to have participated in the UK RM experimentation phase. Collaborating with UK finance and community members was an enriching experience. The insights we gained during this phase was valuable for the possible next steps of the digital money infrastructure development in a sustainable and scalable way.
About the concept and potential to enhance payments and settlements in the UK. It's really positive to see the industry coming together to deliver this. It's been a pleasure for EY to be involved in this phase of work following the involvement in all previous phases. And we look forward to continuing to collaborate with the industry in the future.
Now, you just saw from a few players from that whole suite of interviews that happened that day. Truly understand and see that Quant Network is the infrastructure. That's why they have slogans like the standard for building on blockchain. That's why they have slogans like the foundation of digital finance, because they're interoperable, programmable, the programmable payments, that sweet spot. Because Overledger is bigger than that, y'all. Truly understand that Overledger is bigger than programmable payments. But there is a lane outside of Overledger that they also are going to capture, and that is their programmable payments digitally, globally. And after that API becomes the standard, anyone else using the standard will have to tap into that API. That's when you will have a thing like a Hedera doing that API, or a Ripple doing that API, or whatever the case may be, because they have to tap into the standard. It's just like photographs. This is the reason why we can send photographs seamlessly to each other, no matter what service provider you have, because they tap into the same standard of integrated photos. Because if they weren't tapping into the same standard, since they're on two different operating systems, the photo would not go through. Understand what things like secure asset transfer protocol and why those things were put in place by the IETF, the Internet Engineering Task Force. Truly see the route Quant Network went was the route of standardizing the technology. Gilbertian has said it multiple times.
Solved interoperability at scale, and the background to money is a 20-year career in cybersecurity. I ran the payment infrastructure as the Chief Security Officer for the Bank of England, so keeping all the money safe across all the payment systems and the payment rails. And now we're also company guarantors to Pay UK, putting the strategy in place for future payments, including central bank money as well, but creating an ecosystem around what's the potential of money and what we could do with it. And that's my interest. We're shaping the system.
We had to get it out of this experimental mode, and I guess the first stage for that was to really establish and found the ISO standard for blockchain. So this is TC 307. So I did that in 2015, and the idea behind that was to create a way where we can have a mass collaboration to work on the technology at an international level, and that's what's happened. So now we've got 53 countries working together to standardize blockchain across the world, and that includes organizations, startups, government, enterprise, academia, everyone. And so we set out to then bring it up into the mainstream. By standardizing the technology, we then built the platform. And so working on the ISO standards. We then built Overledger following that. And the whole idea is to bring the mass adoption of blockchain.
They didn't want to try to, get into the whole retail arena and fight over, I'm better, no, I'm better. This army, no, that army. No, they say we want to tackle the technology in whole, not focused on any singular blockchain, but let's make the technology as great and efficient and secure as it possibly can be. So they have worked alongside of governments, central banks, players like Homeland Security. I did a video about it about 1.5 years ago, tying Quant directly back to Homeland Security documents. Truly understand and see that this is not something that they have just woke up yesterday and decided to build out Overledger. This has been something that's been worked on methodically from the most powerful people in the world for quite some time. And we're now at the point of the development at the point of the deployment of what has already been developed. Truly see what's happening. That's why we're going to have that live demo at the end of this month at Cybos, showing people Overledger Fusion, which is that 2.5 solution, which means it's showing you that it's not just we can connect the layer ones, because we got that under wrap. We can now also connect any layer 2 that sits on top of any layer 1 also in the world. Truly see what's being laid out in front of your face right now, okay, you guys, right now in real time in 2025. And let's pick up these gems that Gilbert and the team have been laying down. People like Martin Hargraves, who was in that video that I just showed you, that was one of Quant's execs. Truly understand when words come out of these people's mouths. Listen, understand and see Quant Network and QNT, in my eyes, is the opportunity of a lifetime. And it is going to make Bitcoin look like child's play in just a few years, because it is getting ready to be utilized by the biggest entities in the world and every single patron that sits inside of those entities. Okay, you guys, but I really thank y'all for tuning in, and I thank y'all for tapping. If you made it all the way through this entire video, type in EY, because the infrastructure that Quant Network has built alongside of all of the participants of the regulated liability network, because that's what that video is from, is second to anybody in Web3. All right, you guys, to the next time. Y'all already know. I appreciate y'all. Peace out.